Like we said before, the gray matter, which is going to be located here, is going to contain your cell body and your dendrites. The white matter is going to contain your axons, okay? Now, an easy way that I like to remember it is that many, not all, but many of the axons are going to have the myelin sheath, which we see right here. Now, this is the actual axon that we see here, and this is the myelin sheath. And if you remember from lecture, I had talked about the myelin sheath and just started to head into it a little bit, where I said that myelin increases the rate of an action potential down the length of an axon, okay? So this is that myelin. You guys studied this last week in lab. But the way I like to think of it is that this sort of looks like white, and this is white, so therefore the axons are moving either up or they are moving down, okay? Now, if axons are moving up the spinal cord in the white matter, then we call them ascending tracks. So if they move up, they're called ascending tracks. If they move down, they're described as being descending tracks. So is ascending motor or sensory?
Sensory.
Sensory, good, it's sensory. So ascending is sensory, and therefore descending is sensory or motor?
Motor.
Motor, good. Okay. So, to go through the different parts of the spinal cord. Now, you guys went through this already, so I don't expect this to be too difficult, okay? Now, you have to know any of these models, whether it's this one that has color to it, there's another one that's just white and green. You have to know that, because it doesn't really matter. The colors are really not playing that big of a role here, and you have to know this model as well, okay? So, first things first, let's do this one. So, out here is going to be the white matter, in here is going to be the gray matter. How do I know where the dorsal side is? Well, the way you know that where the dorsal side is you look for the gray matter, and if you notice that this particular part of the gray matter comes right to the edge, whereas the other side of the gray matter does not go to the edge. So when it does go to the edge, that's the dorsal side, and on the opposite side is the ventral side. So we have the dorsal side and we have the ventral side. Dorsal, the gray matter is going to go right to the edge of the spinal cord. Okay? So here we have the ventral gray horn, the lateral gray horn, and the dorsal gray horn. So ventral, lateral, and dorsal gray horns. If we're looking at the posterior side, I'm just going to flip this around. So this is now the dorsal side. This we call the posterior column. This is the lateral column. And this right here is going to be the anterior column. Okay? So anterior white column, lateral white column, dorsal white column. If you look at the spinal cord, which hit stop on that.